Day-Wan pushed his cleaning cart through the empty corridors of Outpost Meridian 7. The wheels squeaked softly in the silence. It was 3 in the morning, station time. Most people were asleep. That was how Day-Wan liked it. Alone. Quiet. No one to ask him how he was doing. No one to give him those sad, pitying looks. He had worked as a janitor here for 5 years now. Before that, he had been a scientist, a xenobiologist, studying alien creatures from across the galaxy. He had been good at it, too. He had a wife named Yuna and a daughter named Haiwan. They had been happy. Then the transport accident happened. Haiwan died. She was only 8 years old. Yuna left him a year later. She said she could not watch him destroy himself with grief. Day-Wan did not blame her. He could barely look at himself in the mirror. So now he cleaned floors. He emptied trash bins. He wiped down windows. The work was simple. It required no thinking. That was good. Thinking hurt too much. Tonight, Day-Wan was working in the cargo bay. This was the oldest part of the station, built when humans first started exploring this sector of space. Most of it was not used anymore. New, bigger cargo areas had been built on the other side of the station, but someone still had to clean the old sections. That someone was Day-Wan. He moved between tall stacks of forgotten shipping containers. His flashlight cut through the darkness. The station lights in this area were old, and half of them did not work. Day-Wan did not mind. The darkness felt comfortable, like a blanket. He was wiping dust off a control panel when he heard it. A soft sound, almost like breathing, but not quite human. Day-Wan froze. His hand moved to the radio on his belt. He should call security. There should not be anyone else down here. But something stopped him. The sound came again. It was not threatening. It sounded scared, small, like a child crying in the dark. Day-Wan turned his flashlight toward the sound. He walked slowly around a large container. Behind it, in the shadows, something moved. At first, Day-Wan thought his eyes were playing tricks on him. The creature was small, maybe the size of a cat, but it was not a cat. Its body was covered in scales that shimmered like oil on water, shifting between deep blue and bright silver. Small wings were folded against its back, trembling. 2 large eyes, far too intelligent for such a small creature, stared up at him. Day-Wan's scientist brain woke up for the first time in years. He knew what this was. He had seen pictures in journals during his university days. This was a draconid, a dragon in Earth's old legends. But the draconids were not legends. They were real. They were one of the oldest and most powerful species in the galaxy. They lived for thousands of years. They rarely spoke to younger races like humans. They considered most species beneath their notice. And here, huddled behind garbage in a forgotten cargo bay, was a draconid child, lost and alone. The creature looked at him. Its mouth moved. The translator implant in Day-Wan's ear crackled to life. The voice was thin and tired. "Can I rest here tonight?" The words hit Day-Wan like a physical blow. He saw his daughter in those eyes. Haiwan, in the hospital, asking him if she would be okay. He had lied and said yes, but she had not been okay. She had died, and he had been unable to save her. This was not his daughter. This was an alien creature from a species that saw humans as primitive children. Helping it could cause diplomatic problems. The station had rules, protocols. He should call security immediately. But all Day-Wan saw was a scared child asking for help. He knelt down slowly. The creature flinched but did not run. Day-Wan took off his jacket. It was old and worn, but it was warm. He held it out. "Yes," he said quietly. "You can rest here." The creature stared at him for a long moment. Then it moved forward, slowly, as if expecting him to change his mind. When he did not, it pressed against his chest. He wrapped the jacket around it. The creature was cold. Its heart beat very fast, like a bird's. Daewon looked around. He could not leave the creature here. The cargo bay would be inspected in the morning, and it was too cold. The little dragon needed warmth and food. He made a decision that would change everything. He picked up the creature, still wrapped in his jacket, and held it close to his chest. It weighed almost nothing. He left his cleaning cart where it was. He could come back for it later. His quarters were in the maintenance sector of the station. This was where the janitors and repair workers lived. The rooms were small and the walls were thin, but at least he had his own space. No one would look for a lost draconid there. He walked through the service corridors. These passages were used by maintenance staff and robots. He saw no one. At this hour, even the robots were mostly idle. When he reached his quarters, he locked the door behind him. His room was tiny. A bed, a desk, a small bathroom, one window that looked out at the stars. On his desk was a photo of Daewon, smiling. He had not moved it in 5 years. Daewon set the creature down on his bed. It looked around with those large, ancient eyes. He went to his small kitchen and heated some water. He had no idea what draconids ate, but warm water might help. When he returned, the creature was sitting up. Its scales caught the light from the stars outside and made little rainbows on the walls. "Thank you," it said. Its standard was better now, as if it was learning from him. "I am Sail." "I am Daewon," he replied. He sat on the floor, not wanting to crowd the small creature. "Can you tell me what happened? How did you get here?" Sael's eyes dimmed. "There was an attack. My clan was traveling. The Vrex came. Big ships, weapons. Everyone was fighting. I was put in an escape pod, told to hide. The pod brought me here." The Vrex. Daewon knew of them. Insect-like aliens who expanded their territory through conquest. They had been pushing into this region of space for years. There had been skirmishes, but no full war. Not yet. "Your family?" Daewon asked gently. "I do not know," Sael said. "I cannot feel them. We draconids, we sense each other across the stars, but I feel nothing. Either they are too far away or—" The creature's voice trailed off. Daewon understood loss. He understood being alone. He reached out slowly and put his hand on Sail's head. The scales felt smooth and warm now, not cold like before. "You are safe here," he said. "I will figure something out. But tonight, you rest." Sail looked at him. "Why do you help me? Your people and mine, we do not speak much. We have ignored you." Daewon thought about that. Why was he helping? It was stupid, dangerous. It could cost him everything. But looking at this small, scared creature, he knew the answer. "Because you asked," he said simply. "Because you needed help. That is enough." Sail curled up on his bed, still wrapped in his jacket. Within minutes, the little dragon was asleep. Daewon sat at his desk and looked at the photo of his daughter. Then he looked at Sail. For the first time in 5 years, Daewon felt something other than emptiness. He felt purpose. He felt needed. He had failed to save Daewon, but maybe, just maybe, he could save this lost child. Even if it was foolish, even if it was dangerous, he had to try. Outside the window, the stars shone cold and distant, but in his small room, something warm had begun to grow. The next 3 weeks changed Daewon's life in ways he could not have imagined. Every night he would finish his cleaning work as quickly as possible and hurry back to his quarters. Sail would be waiting, those large eyes lighting up when he entered. For the first time since Daewon died, Daewon had someone to come home to. But caring for a draconid was not simple. On the second day, Sail became very weak. The little dragon could barely lift its head. Daewon panicked. He did not know what draconids needed to survive. He could not take Sail to the medical bay without revealing everything. So he did what he had not done in years. He used his old knowledge. He remembered his training as a xenobiologist. He broke into the station's science database using his old security clearance, which somehow still worked. He searched for everything about draconids. The information was limited. Draconids did not share much about themselves, but he found something. Young draconids needed a specific mineral compound. On their home world, they would eat certain rocks that contained it. Without it, they would slowly starve, no matter how much regular food they ate. Daewon looked at the chemical formula. His mind, rusty from years of not using it, began to work. He could make a substitute. It would not be perfect, but it might work. He used his small savings to buy chemicals from the station's supply store. He told the clerk he was working on a hobby project. In his tiny kitchen, he mixed and heated and tested. It took him 6 tries. On the 7th attempt, he created a gray powder that matched the formula. He mixed the powder in water and gave it to Sael. The little dragon drank it slowly. Then it waited. Daewon waited too, his heart pounding. If this did not work, he would have to risk taking Sael to the medical bay. He would have to admit what he had done. An hour later, Sael's scales began to glow brighter. The dragon sat up and looked at Daewon. "I feel better," Sael said, wonder in its voice. "You healed me. How did you know?" "I used to be a scientist," Daewon said quietly. "Before I became a janitor, I studied creatures like you." "Why did you stop?" Sael asked. Daewon showed the little dragon the photo of Haewon. He told Sael about the accident, about his wife leaving, about how he had felt like he had failed at everything that mattered. Sael listened quietly, and when Daewon finished talking, the dragon pressed against his side. "You did not fail," Sael said. "Accidents are not failure, and you saved me. You are still a healer." The words made something tight in Daewon's chest loosen. He had not cried since the funeral, but that night, with a small dragon curled beside him, he finally did. After that, things got easier. Daewon created a routine. He would make the mineral powder every few days. He would read to Sael in the evenings. He found an old book of Korean folk tales that his grandmother had given him. Sael loved the stories about clever rabbits and brave tigers and mountain spirits. "Your people have such interesting tales," Sael said one night. "Always about small creatures defeating big ones through cleverness, about honor and sacrifice." "Do draconids not have stories?" Daewon asked. "We have histories," Sael replied. "Long records of facts and dates, but not stories like yours. Not tales that make you feel things." Daewon thought about that. Maybe that was why draconids seemed so cold and distant. They had forgotten how to tell stories, how to share feelings. But the secret could not last forever. Bora was the chief of station security. She was 45 years old, sharp-eyed, and missed nothing. She had known Daewon years ago when they both had different jobs. Her son had been in the same school as Haewon. Her son had died in the same transport accident. Bora noticed when Daewon's power usage increased. She noticed when he started accessing restricted science databases. She noticed that he looked different, less empty, more alive. She began to investigate quietly. Meanwhile, Daewon made another discovery. One evening, he found Sael floating above the bed. Not flying with its small wings, actually floating as if gravity had forgotten about the little dragon. Sael's eyes were closed, and the scales glowed with soft blue light. When Sael woke up, the dragon seemed surprised. "I was dreaming," Sael said, "about the space between spaces, the paths that ships use to travel fast." Daewon's old knowledge stirred again. He asked questions. He tested. And he realized something incredible. Sael was not just any draconid. The pattern of scales, the color shifts, the abilities manifesting so young. Sael was from a ruling bloodline. And more than that, Sael had a rare gift, the ability to sense and manipulate the fabric of space itself. This was how faster-than-light travel worked. Most species used machines to do it, but Sail could do it naturally. If the wrong people learned about this, they would never stop hunting the little dragon. They would want to study Sail, use Sail, turn the dragon into a living navigation tool. Day One felt fear like ice in his stomach. He had thought he was just protecting a lost child, but he was protecting something much more valuable, much more dangerous. 3 weeks after that first night, everything changed. Day One was at work, cleaning the main corridor, when the station alarm sounded, not the emergency alarms, the diplomatic arrival signal. He looked at the information screen. 3 Vrex ships had entered the system and were requesting permission to dock. The Vrex, the ones who had attacked Sail's clan. Day One's blood went cold. He abandoned his cleaning cart and ran back to his quarters. Sail was there, looking frightened. "They are here," the little dragon whispered. "I can feel them. They are looking for me." "How do they know you are here?" Day One asked. "They must have tracked the escape pod," Sail said. "They are claiming salvage rights. That is legal in galactic law. They will say, 'I am lost property.'" Day One wanted to scream. How could a living child be property? But he knew the galaxy did not always make sense. Power made the rules. The Vrex had power. Humans did not really. They were still new to space, still learning how things worked. His door chimed. Someone was outside. Day One told Sail to hide in the bathroom. He opened the door. Bora stood there. She looked at him for a long moment. Then she pushed past him into the room. She looked around. She saw the mineral powder on the counter, the science books on the desk. She walked to the bathroom door and opened it. Sail stood there trying to look brave but clearly terrified. Bora stared at the little dragon. Then she looked at Day One. "How long?" she asked quietly. 3 weeks, Day One said. He saw no point in lying now. "I found Sail in the cargo bay, lost and scared. I could not turn away." "The Vrex are here for it," Bora said. It was not a question. "For Sail," Day One corrected. "Not it. Sail is a child." Bora looked at him for a long time. Day One waited for her to call for backup, to arrest him, to take Sail away. He was just a janitor. She was security. She had all the power here. Then Bora did something unexpected. She smiled. It was sad, but real. "I wondered when your stubborn heart would show up again," she said. She walked over to Sail and knelt down. "Hello, little one. I am Bora. I lost my son in the same accident that took Day One's daughter. We are both people who understand loss." She stood and looked at Day One. "The Vrex have legal documentation. They claim Sail as salvage from a destroyed vessel. The station commander is considering their request. We have maybe 2 days before they get permission to search the station." "What do we do?" Day One asked. Bora's smile became sharper. "We do what humans do best. We find a way, and we protect what matters." She looked at Sail. "This child matters. Legal or not, right is right. Come with me. I know some people who will help, people who are tired of following rules that protect the strong and abandon the weak." Day One felt hope for the first time since the Vrex arrived. He was not alone. Bora was with him. And if Bora said there were others, he believed her. They were going to save Sail, somehow. Even if the whole galaxy said it was impossible, even if the law was against them, they would find a way, because that was what humans did. They cared when caring seemed foolish. They helped when helping made no sense. They protected the small and the lost, even when the powerful said to step aside. Day One picked up Sail and followed Bora into the corridor. The little dragon looked up at him and whispered, "Thank you for not giving up on me." "Never," Day One promised. "We are in this together now." Bora led Day One and Sail through the maintenance corridors to a part of the station he rarely visited. They went down 3 levels, past the water recycling plant, to an old storage room that had been converted into a break room for night shift workers. Inside, 5 people waited. Daewon recognized some of them. Hyunwoo worked in cargo handling. He was a big man with gentle hands who always had a kind word. Soo-jin was a communications officer, small and quick, with sharp eyes that missed nothing. Ta-yang was security like Bo-ra, but younger. There were 2 others Daewon did not know, an engineer named Min-ho and a medical technician named Irin. They all looked at Sail. The little dragon pressed closer to Daewon, wings trembling. "It is okay," Bo-ra said to Sail. "These are friends. They all want to help." "Why?" Sail asked. "You do not know me. My people have never helped yours. We have ignored humans since you came to space. Why would you risk yourselves?" Soo-jin spoke first. Her voice was soft but firm. 3 years ago, the Vrex attacked a mining colony. My sister was there. The Draconids could have helped. They had ships nearby, but they said it was not their concern. My sister died. I have every reason to hate your people. Sail's head dropped. "I am sorry." "But you are not them," Soo-jin continued. "You are a child, a scared child who needs help. My sister would want me to help you. That is who she was. That is who I want to be." Tai-yang spoke next. "My brother died fighting Vrex raiders. I hate them. When I heard they were here looking for you, I knew which side I was on. The enemy of my enemy and all that. But more than that, Bo-ra told me your story. You asked Daewon if you could rest. That is all. Just a safe place for one night. How can I say no to that?" One by one, they each shared their reasons. Some had lost people. Some had been overlooked and forgotten by the powerful species who ran the galaxy. Some were just tired of watching bullies get their way. But all of them agreed on one thing. Sail deserved protection. Not because of what the little dragon was, or what Sail could do, but because Sail was a child in danger. Sail listened to all of them. Then the little dragon looked at Daewon. "Your people are strange. You help even when it hurts you, even when you get nothing in return. Why?" Daewon thought about that. "Because someone has to. Because if we only help when it benefits us, then we are no better than the Vrex. We choose to be better. That is what makes us human." Hyunwoo laughed. "Also, we are stubborn, very stubborn. Tell us we cannot do something, and we will find a way just to prove you wrong." That broke the tension. Even Sail made a sound that might have been a laugh. Bo-ra brought out a data pad. "Now, let us plan. The Vrex have legal standing. The station commander, Ji-woo, is a good person, but she follows the rules. In 2 days, she will grant them search permission. We need to get Sail off this station before then." "How?" Min-ho asked. "They are watching all the docks. Any ship that leaves will be scanned." "We cannot use a ship," Soo-jin said. She had been thinking about this. "But there are other ways to travel. Mining drones. They go out into the asteroid fields every day. Small, automated, barely noticeable." "Can we modify one to carry Sail?" Bo-ra asked. Min-ho nodded slowly. "Maybe. I would need to add life support, adjust the power systems. It would be tight, but possible." "Where would the drone go?" Aaron asked. Soo-jin smiled. "I have contacts in the Talon system, 2 jumps from here. There is a colony of refugees there, people from a dozen species who got tired of following unfair laws. They would keep Sail safe." 2 jumps, Hyunwoo said. "That requires precise navigation. The asteroids between here and there are unmapped. One wrong calculation and the drone crashes." Everyone looked at Sail. The little dragon understood. "You want me to navigate, using my gift." "Can you do it?" Daewon asked gently. "I do not know," Sail said honestly. "I have never tried. My people train for centuries before they trust themselves with such things. I am too young, too untrained." "But you can sense the paths," Daewon said. I have seen you. When you float and your scales glow, you are touching that space between spaces. Touching it, yes, Sail said, but using it. Trusting myself to guide a ship through it, that is different. What if I fail? What if I get lost? Daewon knelt down so he was eye level with the little dragon. Then you get lost. But you try. That is all anyone can ask, and you will not be alone. I will be with you. You cannot fit in the drone, Sail said. No, Daewon agreed. But there is another part to this plan. The Vrex will be watching for any unusual activity. If a mining drone suddenly goes off course, they will investigate. We need a distraction. Something to draw their attention away from you. Bora caught on immediately. A decoy, someone piloting a ship in the opposite direction, making it obvious, making them chase. I will do it, Daewon said. No, Sail said immediately. It is too dangerous. They will catch you. They will hurt you. Maybe, Daewon said, but I am fast in a small ship, and I know these asteroid fields better than any Vrex pilot. I can lose them. He was lying. They all knew it. The Vrex ships were faster and better armed. Whoever flew the decoy mission was not coming back. Daewon knew this, but he had made his choice the moment he found Sail in that cargo bay. He had not been able to save Haewon, but he could save Sail, even if it cost him everything. There has to be another way, Sail pleaded. There is not, Bora said quietly. I wish there was, but Daewon is right. We need a sacrifice play. Someone has to draw them off. Then I will do it, Taeyang said. No, I will, Hyunwoo said. I am the best pilot, Sujin said. It should be me. Daewon looked at all of them. These people, most of whom he barely knew, all willing to die for a little dragon they had just met. This was humanity at its best. Stupid, stubborn, impossibly brave. No, Daewon said firmly. This is my choice. Sael is my responsibility. I found the little one. I chose to help. This is how I finish what I started. He looked at Sael. You asked me if you could rest. I said yes, but rest means safety, true safety, not hiding in a janitor's room while Vrex ships hunt you. I will give you that safety. I will give you the chance to live free. That is what I can do. Let me do this. Sael was crying. Daewon had not known draconids could cry, but tears ran down the little dragon's face. I do not want you to die. You saved me. You are my friend. And you saved me, Daewon said softly. Before I found you, I was already dead inside. I was just going through motions waiting for my life to end. You gave me purpose again. You reminded me what it felt like to care about someone. That is a gift. Let me repay it. The room was silent. Finally, Bora spoke. We have 2 days. Minho, start working on the drone. Sujin, contact your people in the Talon system. Make sure they are ready. Taeyang, Hyunwoo, we need to plan the distraction in detail. What route, what timing, what signals. Daewon needs every advantage we can give him. I will work with Sael, Iron said. Help the little one prepare mentally. Navigating through space is as much about confidence as ability. They spent the next hour planning. Daewon watched them work together. Strangers becoming a team, a family, all for one small dragon. This was what humans did. When the galaxy was cold and cruel, humans brought warmth. When power said might makes right, humans said compassion matters more. Later, when the meeting ended, Daewon and Sael returned to his quarters. The little dragon was quiet. Finally, Sael spoke. I am learning something about your people, something my kind forgot long ago. You do not measure worth in power or years. You measure it in moments, in choices, in whether you helped when someone needed you. That is right, Daewon said. My people will remember this, Sael said. If I survive, I will tell them. I will tell them that humans are not lesser because they are young, that maybe being young means you still remember how to care, how to love, how to sacrifice. Just survive, Daewon said. That is all I ask. Live a long life. Be happy. Remember that once, a janitor helped you because you asked. I will remember, Sail promised, and I will make sure the whole galaxy remembers too. Daewon smiled. He did not believe the galaxy would care, but it did not matter. He was not doing this for fame or recognition. He was doing it because it was right, because Sail deserved a chance, because love did not calculate costs or benefits. It just gave. 2 days. They had 2 days to prepare. 2 days before everything changed. Daewon looked at the photo of Haewon on his desk. He thought his daughter would understand. She had always been kind to smaller kids, always helped when someone was hurt. She would want him to do this. I am not afraid anymore, he said to no one in particular. You should be, Sail said quietly. No, Daewon said. I have been afraid for 5 years. Afraid of living, afraid of caring, afraid of losing again. I am done with fear. Now I am just going to do what needs to be done. That is enough. The 2 days passed too quickly. Minho worked without sleep, modifying the mining drone. Sujin confirmed her contacts would help. Aaron taught Sael breathing exercises to calm panic. Bo-Ra and Tae-Yang planned escape routes. Hyun-Woo gathered supplies. Everyone played their part. Daewon spent the time with Sael. They talked about small things, favorite foods, funny memories. He told the little dragon more Korean folk tales. Sael especially loved the story of the tiger who learned kindness from a rabbit. Your stories always have hope, Sael said. Even when things seem impossible, the hero finds a way. Is human life really like that? Sometimes, Daewon said. And when it is not, we pretend it is until it becomes true. That is called faith. On the morning of the 3rd day, everything went wrong. Alarms woke Daewon. Not the diplomatic alarms, the security breach alarms. He grabbed Sail and ran to the maintenance corridors. His radio crackled. It was Bo-Ra. They are making their move, she said, her voice tight. The Vrex tried to take over the station's security systems. We blocked them, but it was close. They are done playing nice. What does that mean? Daewon asked. It means they know we have Sail. They know we are planning something. And they just called for reinforcements. 3 more Vrex warships just entered the system. Daewon felt his stomach drop. 3 warships against 1 small space station with minimal defenses. This was not a diplomatic mission anymore. This was an invasion. He reached the storage room where the group had been meeting. Everyone was there. They looked scared but determined. Minho had the modified drone on a transport cart. It looked so small, so fragile to carry something so precious. The station commander has been contacted, Sujin said. The Vrex are giving us 1 hour. They want Sael handed over or they will take the station by force. They are claiming it is legal salvage operation. They have documents. The Galactic Council is not responding to our requests for help. Of course they are not, Hyun-Woo said bitterly. When have the big species ever helped humans? We are too young, too weak. They think we should just follow the rules and stay quiet. Daewon looked at the drone, then at Sael. We launch now. We do not have time for the careful plan. Sael, can you do this? The little dragon was shaking. I can try, but they will see us. The Vrex ships are watching everything. Then we make them look somewhere else, Daewon said. He turned to Bo-Ra. I am going to broadcast, station-wide. I am going to tell everyone what is happening. Every person on this station deserves to know that the Vrex are about to attack us because we tried to protect a child. That will cause panic, Bo-Ra said. Good, Daewon replied. Let there be panic. Let people know what is happening. Let them choose for themselves whether to stand or hide. He walked to a communications panel. Sujin unlocked it for him. Daewon took a breath. Then he pressed the button for station-wide broadcast. Every screen, every radio, every device on Meridian 7 would receive this message. "My name is Day One," he said. His voice echoed through corridors all across the station. "I am a janitor. I clean your floors and empty your trash. I am nobody important, but I know something important. I know that right now there is a child on this station who needs protection." He told them about Sael, about finding the little dragon in the cargo bay, about learning to care again, about humans coming together to help. He told them about the Vrex demands, about the warships waiting outside, about the ultimatum. "They say the law is on their side," Day One said. "They say Sael is property, salvage, but I say Sael is a child, and no law that treats children as property deserves to be followed." He looked at Sael. The little dragon was crying again, but listening. "In 1 hour, the Vrex will attack unless we surrender Sael. The station commander is trying to negotiate, but we all know how this ends. The strong get what they want, the weak obey. That is how the galaxy works." He paused. "But maybe we can change that. Maybe we can show the galaxy that humans do not just follow rules because the powerful wrote them. Maybe we can show them that protecting one child matters more than our own safety." His voice grew stronger. "I am going to fly a ship out there. I am going to draw their attention while Sael escapes. I will probably die." "That is okay. I have been dead inside for 5 years. Dying outside does not scare me anymore. But I want you all to know why. I want you to understand. This is not about politics or law. This is about being human. This is about caring when caring seems foolish." He looked directly at the camera. "If you want to help, come to Docking Bay 7. If you want to hide, I understand. But know this. Today, some humans chose to stand between a child and danger. Today, we decided that might does not make right. Today, we showed the galaxy who we really are." He ended the broadcast. The room was silent. Bora stared at him. "That was either the bravest or stupidest thing I have ever heard," she said. "Maybe both," Daywan said, "but it felt right." They waited. 5 minutes. 10. Nothing happened. Daywan felt his heart sink. No one was coming. He had asked too much. People had families, lives. They would not throw that away for a dragon they had never met. Then Bora's radio crackled. It was the docking bay supervisor. Chief, we have a situation. People are gathering at Docking Bay 7. A lot of people." Bora and Daywan ran. When they reached the bay, Daywan could not believe what he saw. Hundreds of people stood there, not soldiers, regular people, janitors like him, cargo handlers, cooks, engineers, teachers, all the ordinary people who kept the station running. They held tools, plasma cutters, welding torches, whatever they could find. An old woman stepped forward. She ran the station's hydroponics garden. "I heard your speech," she said to Daywan. "You are right. If we cannot protect one child, what good are we? I am too old to fight. But I can stand in the way. Make them go through me." One by one, others spoke. A young father with 3 kids. "I want my children to grow up in a galaxy where caring matters." A cargo worker who had been laid off twice. "No one stood up for me, but I will stand up for that little dragon." More people kept coming. The docking bay filled, not just humans. Some of the other species who lived on the station too. A Rigelian merchant, a Telonian refugee, even a few of the usually neutral Centaurians. All standing together. Bora looked at Daywan. "What do we do with them?" "We give them a choice," Daywan said. He climbed onto a cargo container so everyone could see him. "Thank you for coming, but I need you to understand. If you stay, the Vrex might hurt you. They might kill you. I cannot promise you will be safe." "We do not want safe," someone shouted. "We want right." The crowd cheered. Daywan felt tears on his face. These people, these ordinary, overlooked, supposedly unimportant people. They were choosing to risk everything for a child they had never met. This was humanity, stubborn, foolish, impossibly brave. Bo-Ra took charge. She organized the crowd into groups. Some would block the corridors leading to the bay. Others would disable the automated security systems the Vrex might use. More would spread throughout the station, ready to slow any boarding parties. It was not a military plan, but it might buy time. In the middle of all this, Sail stood quiet. The little dragon watched humans preparing to risk everything. For it. A creature from a species that had ignored humans for decades. "I do not understand," Sail whispered to Daewon. "Why do they care? Most of them do not know me." "They care because you are a child who needs help," Daewon said. "That is enough. That is all the reason humans need." The hour passed. A message came from the Vrex warships. "This is your final warning. Surrender the Draconid Hatchling, or we will board the station by force. You have 10 minutes to comply." Station Commander Ji-Woo's voice came over the intercom. She sounded tired but proud. "To all personnel, the Vrex have issued their ultimatum. I am officially ordering everyone to stand down and allow them to search. This is for your own safety." Then she paused. "However, if anyone chooses to ignore my order, I will be too busy with paperwork to notice. That is all." The humans in the docking bay looked at each other. Then someone started laughing. Soon everyone was laughing. Even in the face of death, humans found humor, found hope. Sail's scales began to glow, brighter than Daewon had ever seen. The little dragon was shaking. "What is wrong?" Daewon asked. "I need to try something," Sail said. "My people can call to each other across space. I have been too scared to try." "What if no one answered? What if they are all gone?" "Try now," Daewon urged. "Call them. Let them see what humans are doing for you. Let them see what caring looks like." Sail closed its eyes. The dragon's scales blazed with blue-white light. And Sail called out, not with voice, but with something deeper. A cry that traveled through the space between spaces. A call for help, but more than that. A call to witness, to see, to learn. The 10 minutes passed. The Vrex ships moved closer to the station, their weapons powered up. In the docking bay, humans stood ready. Daewon held Sail close. If this was the end, at least he would die doing something that mattered. Then space itself rippled. 18 new ships emerged from faster-than-light travel. Not Vrex ships. Draconid vessels. Huge and ancient and beautiful. They moved between Meridian 7 and the Vrex warships. A single message broadcast in all languages. "This station is under Draconid protection. Leave, now!" The Vrex ships retreated immediately. No one argued with the Draconids. No one dared. Daewon looked down at Sail. The little dragon was glowing so bright he could barely look directly at it. "They heard me," Sail whispered. "They came, and they saw everything. They saw you all willing to die for me. They saw what humans are." The impossible had happened. Humanity's foolish compassion had just changed everything. One of the Draconid ships docked with Meridian 7. The airlock opened. What emerged was not a small dragon like Sail. This was a full-grown Draconid. Easily 3 times the height of a human, scales like polished midnight, wings that folded against its back but could probably span the entire docking bay, eyes that held the weight of thousands of years. The humans stepped back. Even Bo-Ra, who feared nothing, took an involuntary step backward. This was an ancient being, something from stories and legends, something powerful beyond their understanding. But Daewon did not step back. He held Sail, who had run to him the moment the airlock opened. The little dragon was crying and laughing at the same time, pressing against Daewon's chest. The great Draconid looked at them. When it spoke, its voice was like distant thunder. "I am Elder Kale. I was Sail's teacher before the attack. I have searched for the hatchling for many cycles. I had feared the worst. Sael is safe, Day One said. His voice sounded small compared to the elders, but he kept it steady. That is all that matters. Elder Kael studied Day One for a long moment. You are the one called Day One, the janitor, the one who found Sael in a forgotten cargo bay. Yes. The one who chose to protect Sael despite the danger, despite having no obligation, despite my people ignoring yours for decades. Yes. Why? It was such a simple question, but it held so much weight. Day One thought about all the complicated answers he could give, about loss and redemption, about second chances, about his daughter. But in the end, the truth was simpler. Because Sael asked if there was a place to rest, and I said yes. That is all. Elder Kael's eyes widened slightly. That is all? You risked your life. You rallied your people. You prepared to die because a child asked for shelter? What else would I do? Day One asked. Say no? Turn away? I could not do that. No decent person could. The elder looked around at the other humans. The hundreds still standing in the bay. The old woman, the young father, the cargo workers and cooks and teachers. And all of these, they also risked death. For a hatchling they never met. From a species that gave them nothing. Bora stepped forward. We did it because it was right. We do not help people because we get something in return. We help because help is needed. Elder Kael was silent for a very long time. When it spoke again, its voice was softer. I have lived for 11,000 years. I have seen species rise and fall. I have watched the galaxy turn. But I have never seen what I saw today. Through Sael's call, I witnessed everything. Your people preparing to die for a child. No treaty, no alliance, no benefit, just raw, unreasonable compassion. The elder looked directly at Day One. My people have forgotten something. We live so long that we think in centuries. We plan in epochs. We have grown cold, efficient, logical. We no longer understand immediacy. We no longer understand this. It gestured at the humans. This fierce, foolish love. This willingness to give everything for one small being. It is not foolish, Day One said quietly. It is the only thing that makes life worth living. Caring, connecting, loving. Without that, what is the point of living 11,000 years? Elder Kael nodded slowly. You are correct. And that is why you matter. Why your species matters. You burn bright and brief. You treasure each moment because you have so few. You love fiercely because you know loss. My people have forgotten these things. Perhaps we can remember. Perhaps we can learn. The elder knelt, bringing its massive head down to Day One's level. The Draconid Council offers you gratitude. Name your reward, wealth, technology, even life extension. We can make you nearly immortal if you wish. Day One thought about living for thousands of years, never aging, never dying, seeing everything, experiencing everything, but in his mind, he saw Haiwan's face. He saw the photo on his desk. Some losses needed to be felt. Some pain needed to be carried. That was part of being human. No, he said, I do not want to live forever. I want my normal human life. But I do want something. Name it. The Vrex. Stop them from hurting others. Use your power to protect those who cannot protect themselves. Make sure no more children have to flee in escape pods, terrified and alone. Elder Kael studied him. You ask for nothing for yourself, only for others. This also I have rarely seen. And one more thing, Day One added. Let Sael visit when the little one wants. I would like to stay in touch, to see Sael grow up. Before Elder Kael could respond, Sael spoke up. The little dragon's voice was clear and firm. I have a different idea. I want to stay here, with Day One, not forever, but for my young years. Let me learn from humans before I learn from draconids." "That is highly irregular," Elder Kale said. "I know," Sale replied. "But you said my call showed you something important. It showed you what humans are. If that matters, if that is truly valuable, then let me learn it properly. Your people will teach me power. Day-Wan and his people will teach me why power matters. They will teach me kindness, compassion, how to care for the small and forgotten. Those lessons are just as important." Elder Kale considered this. Then, surprisingly, the great dragon made a sound that might have been a laugh. "Wise beyond your years, little one. Very well. You may stay with the humans. I will return each season to check on you and provide teaching. But your primary home will be here." Sale pressed against Day-Wan. The man held the little dragon tight. He had not expected this. He had prepared to say goodbye. Instead, he was being given more time, more moments, another chance to be someone's protector. "Thank you," he whispered to Sale. "Thank you for choosing to stay." "Thank you for letting me rest," Sale whispered back. 5 years passed. Meridian 7 changed. Word spread across the galaxy about what happened, about the humans who stood against warships to protect one child, about Day-Wan, the janitor who changed everything. Some species mocked them, called them foolish and emotional, but others listened. Others came to the station to see for themselves. Slowly, Meridian 7 became something new, a place where species came not to trade or negotiate, but to learn, to understand. To see what cooperation looked like when it was based on caring rather than benefit. Day-Wan was offered positions: ambassador, council member, dignitary. He turned them all down. He remained a janitor, though now he had a much nicer apartment and only worked part-time. The rest of his time he spent with Sale, teaching the young dragon about human culture, human stories, human kindness. Sale grew. Not to full size yet, but larger, smarter. The dragon's scales now shimmered with patterns that told a story. The story of the night in the cargo bay. The story of humans who cared. It was a mark of honor in draconid culture, a reminder of something important. Bora now commanded a joint security force, humans and draconids working together to protect vulnerable worlds. The Vrex had been pushed back, their expansion halted. Other aggressive species thought twice before attacking the weak. The draconids, inspired by human compassion, had become protectors instead of observers. Su Jin's communication network had grown into something amazing. The free exchange, they called it. Information shared freely across species. No censorship, no propaganda, just truth. It was revolutionary. Hyunwoo, Taiyang, Minho, Arin, all of them found new purposes, new roles. The humans of Meridian 7 who had stood in that docking bay 5 years ago were now leaders, teachers, builders of a better galaxy. And Day-Wan's ex-wife, Yuna, had reached out. They were not together again. Not yet, maybe never. But they were talking, healing. She told him she was proud of what he had done, that Heywan would have been proud. Those words meant more than any reward Elder Kale could have given. One evening, Day-Wan stood in his apartment. It was larger now, with space for Sale to stretch their wings. The walls were covered with photos. Heywan, smiling forever. Yuna, from happier times. His crew from that desperate day. Bora giving orders. Su Jin at her communication station. The old woman from hydroponics. The young father with his kids. All the ordinary humans who had done something extraordinary. And in the center, the photo from that first night. A small dragon wrapped in a janitor's jacket. A moment that changed the galaxy. Sale stood beside him now. The young dragon was nearly his height, soon would be taller. In another year, Sale would return to the Draconid fleet for advanced training, but they would visit. The bond between them would not break. Do you ever regret it? Sile asked. Saying yes that night? Your life became so complicated. Daewon smiled. Complicated is better than empty. Before you, I was just going through motions, waiting to die. You gave me a reason to live again. How could I regret that? You changed the galaxy, Sael said. No, Daewon corrected. We changed the galaxy. You, me, Bo-Ra, everyone who stood in that bay. We showed the galaxy that power is not just weapons and warships. Power is caring when caring seems foolish. Power is protecting the weak even when it costs you everything. Power is saying yes when a frightened child asks for shelter. Sael looked at all the photos. My people are different now. Because of you. We remember what we forgot. That being strong means protecting others, not ignoring them. That life, even brief human life, matters. That love is not weakness. And humans learned too, Daewon said. We learned that we matter. That even as a young species, we have something valuable to offer. That our compassion is not foolishness. It is our strength. Outside the window, ships arrived and departed. 12 different species, all living and working together. The Meridian 7 Accord, they called it, named after the dragon's choice. A treaty of cooperation built on the idea that caring matters more than power. That protecting one child is worth more than conquering a star system. The galaxy remembers, Sael said. When they tell our story, they will talk about the day humans taught Draconids what it means to care. They will talk about you, Daewon, the janitor who changed everything. Daewon laughed. They can tell whatever story they want. I know the truth. I was just a man who met a lost child. The child asked for shelter. I said yes. Everything else followed from that one choice. It was the right choice, Sael said. It was the only choice, Daewon replied. Any decent human would have done the same. That is what we are. That is what makes us special. We are brief and small in a galaxy of ancient giants. But we care, we love, we protect. And sometimes that is enough to change the universe. Sael leaned against him, warm and solid. Outside, the stars shone bright. Inside, a man and a dragon stood together, proof that kindness was not weakness, that love could reshape the cosmos, that sometimes the most powerful thing anyone could do was simply answer yes when someone asked, "Can I rest here tonight?" The galaxy would never forget. But more importantly, neither would they. This moment, this bond, this simple truth that caring for one another across species and cultures and all the vast emptiness of space was what gave life meaning. What made the brief spark of existence burn bright enough to light the darkness. And in the end, that was enough. More than enough. It was everything.